everybody. So, recently I did a video talking about motorcycle security, and it was a bit of a joke video, to be honest with you. I just wanted to make like a follow-up to the grenade video, but equally I did convey some tips from me to you. Some people got quite sort of like, but you can't use that lock, Spicy. Oxford locks are rubbish. I agree with you, they definitely are. And as I said in the video, it doesn't matter what lock you use, it is just a matter of time. It's just extra time. But it did sort of bring up the subjects, and people do say this quite regularly. It's like, well, isn't it time for the manufacturers to start doing something to help bikes from being stolen? And of course the reaction of most people is yes. And I'm naturally, yes, I'd love for them to do that. But I've been thinking about it, and there is a bit of an issue, you see. When a security feature becomes a manufacturer standard, like, you know, the MT-07 has such and such a security method, it then becomes a known quantity, and very quick ways of getting around that are invented by people. Discovered, you might say. Like, whenever they come out with a new designer lock, for instance, it's only so long before they come up with a new designer pick that will pick it in 5 seconds. So it might be secure because no one has the unique tool that's required, but once they have the tool, it takes you moments. But I was thinking, what could manufacturers actually add to bikes to make them harder to steal? Because, you know, the steering lock is easily broken. Well, maybe they should come up with a beefier style or steering lock. You know, the reason why they're so breakable is because they use little, like, 10mm pieces of metal stock that just jam. If you had a cross pin of some sort, like, even if it was removable, you know, you turn the bars to the side and then you put through, like, a 12mm steel cross pin that's lockable, then that would be, you know, you're not going to snap that. You would have to literally break the headstock of the bike before you get the bars unlocked. That would be very effective. But I can see some problems with that. Like, one, it's a hole for grime to get in, and when you have those two rotating surfaces, rust and dirt get in between it could seize and it could make the steering grindy and hard, so not ideal. If you did it lower down, maybe there's some way of doing it, but you know, you want it to be as hidden into the bike as possible. And the other thing is, well, we just said it, it's lockable. And that's the problem. When it comes down to any of these security methods, like some way of locking something manually into the bike, like some people have made the suggestion of some sort of system that locks the gearbox, so the gearbox and the engine cannot turn over and the wheels will not move, well, the back wheel won't move, and that would be, you know, make things an awful lot harder for them to steal. And I do agree with you, yes, but again, if it's something that, for instance, I don't know, say it's like a pin that you push from the outside of the engine and you actuate it in, and it goes into the middle of the gearbox and locks it in. And for some reason the bike also is then in gear constantly, not in neutral, and you can't get it back out. Problem is the clutch can be pulled in and that's going to disengage it still. But again, the problem with that is there is a lock involved. If you have a lock involved, then it can be picked, it can be bypassed, or they can find another way. A lot of people on my security video did mention alarms, and I do agree, alarms are great, especially for alerting you if something's going on in your house or outside your house. I don't think they're great in the sense of protecting your bike though, because, well, when did you last react to a car alarm going off? I don't think I've ever seen anyone go, oh my god, there's a car alarm going off, and then running to it, other than their own car. Because they go off so often that they've become the car that cries wolf, opposed to the bike that sings beef. And it's starting to rain, so Jesus Christ. I was going to Wickes, but now I'm going to Tesco's first because it's underground. So pretty much all of the mechanical blocking methods I can think of and locks use locks, and you can get around them. I mean, even to the point, hello, one of the most simple ways of breaking a house lock, for instance, is you get, as I've mentioned before, the channel Lockpicking Lawyer, if you have a look, he's currently doing some videos using a cord puller, which is basically, you screw one of these screws into the middle of the lock, you attach this thing to the outside of the lock, you hook onto the head of the screw, you wind a nut, and you pull the locking core out the middle of the lock. And when I say you pull it out, I mean like you rip it through the metal and absolutely destroy it. And that'll work pretty universally with most locks that you can get the screw into anyway. The thing is, because I learned how to do some basic lock picking, I now know a bit more about them and understand how unreliable locks are and how easy they are to bypass and how easy they are to just break into in seconds. Sorry, I just had to grab some printer paper because I've got a 30% off sale on my stickers and keychains at the moment. Well, not the keychains, because they just sold out. I've still got the Spicy Army ones, but they're really cheap, so I'm not going to be knocking anything off of those. But the stickers have all got 30% off at the moment, so if you want one, you want to help support this channel, I'm currently investing in stuff for this channel, so if you want to help that, then please do. You can equally do that by joining my Patreon for just $1 a month. Get videos early. You could have seen this 3 days ago. So the manufacturers installing mechanical locks I don't think is the answer, because as I say, once it's a standard, well then everyone knows what it's going to have and how to attack it. Whereas if you have third-party stuff, well it's all different and it's changeable and it can be updated with time. So a good set of locks is probably still one of your best bets as far as that's concerned, and locking the bike to something. The only thing I would probably say actually is that it would be nice if the bike manufacturers could incorporate some locking points on the bike, as in places that you can lock your lock to, or places where you can run your locking cables or chains, just something that makes it a bit easier. Now it can't be a bolt-on item, it must be either welded or forged in, well not forged, but cast. Forged motorcycle part. Well, you do have forged pistons I suppose, but you know what I mean. It needs to be part of the main frame that can't be unbolted or something like that, or easily cut. But then again, it does mean that if someone tries to steal the bike, they'll just cut it with a disc cutter. So that may be worse, because then what happens is more damage is done to the bike, and thus it's more likely to get written off. So as I say, I'm not sure anything mechanical is going to work too well for them. I suppose you could have things which lock using like keys, so it's not a manual lock, it's an electronic lock, and that's something I'll get onto, is the electronic side. But of course, like with what they called keyless entry and stuff like that for cars, you just need to be able to get that signal reproduced and you're in, so they will find a way of doing that. Although it's not as easy as the way that they do it with cars when they're at home and they just hold a receiver up to the door and then use that to transmit it to the car, and thus your car's open. So again, I don't think that's going to be a solution to the problem. What I do think is something that they could do to all bikes is fit a tracker, a GPS tracker to every bike. They're not even expensive anymore, and yes, okay, again, if it's something that's installed by the company, they will find ways around it, but the fact of the matter is, it's there, it's starting to do its job, and I don't see people wanting to go to the point of trying to deactivate a GPS tracker when they're stealing the bike, although I guess they probably could. They can be as smart as they need to be to get the problem solved. Equally though, I think that is a GPS tracker which should be manually switched, as in able to switch it off manually, so there is absolutely no power going to it, because people don't want to be tracked with everywhere that they go necessarily. Okay, that's dumb because everyone has a mobile phone, but it's something that should be thought of, that maybe not everyone wants to have that on their bike. But equally, the problem is, like with that, and like with lots of other things, like all these different things, for them to develop these extra security methods and install them on the bikes is going to increase the prices. There's no way around it. You want more, you pay more. You want more development, you pay more. Someone might make a small thing that you think would only cost a few pounds, but it's actually really expensive. Because, yeah, sure, to make the thing didn't really cost that much, but the development costs of the thing are huge. And I think that is the crux of the problem as to why manufacturers haven't done more and don't seem to be doing any more. It seems to be on the bottom of the very list of their priorities. And I think it's because, no matter what they do, a standard manufactured security system is never as secure as an independent one, and it's always going to increase the price. And it might also leave you in a bit of a legal issue minefield, where if you have a security feature that you sell as making the bike less thievable, less stealable, when someone steals it, someone might say, well, it didn't work, you missold me on that, and try and sue them. I've heard of stranger things. So I've seen the outcry of people saying that manufacturers should do more, and if you actually, rather than just sitting there and going, you should do something about this, this is wrong, people are very quick to say, well, this needs to change, that needs to be changed. Whenever there's a big social or economical problem going in our country or in any country, people will say, well, they just need to do this, well, they just need to do that, as if no one had thought of that. And it's because people don't think the problem through. They don't actually do the well, okay, if we do this, what will it mean for the price? What will it mean for its security? Will it actually work? And when you, as I say, when you weigh it all up, I think the best option is that the manufacturers keep out of it. Maybe make a few small changes, like aiding where locks can go. You know, something like if there was a universal, you never want to go universal though. So if there was like a universal locking system and you could buy different branded locks, so you didn't have the risk of everyone having the same lock, then that would be much stronger. But then the problem is, there is one common thing amongst them, which is some shape or size of shackle or link or something, which is going to have to fit through that standard thing on the bike. And thus tools can be made to overcome that issue. You know, you ask someone to crack a nut and they might sit there and like bang on it and pry on it and try and get it apart, and then you're like, no, and you smash it with a hammer, because that's a thief's approach. The person is trying to think, oh, what a tasty nut, delicious, I want to get this out of its shell in one piece, oh yes. Whereas the thief is just thinking, smash, thief, smash, smash. It's like that video I made, stealing my own bike, where I picked the locks. I had people, look at the comments, I had loads of people saying, well done you've now shown everyone how to steal bikes. I hope you're proud of yourself. Now people's having their bikes stolen is completely down to you, because no one else in the world has ever uploaded a video on YouTube as to how to pick a lock right. I'm the only guy. No. As I said in that video, yes, picking the locks is actually a very quick and easy method with some bikes, not all bikes, some bikes, older ones particularly, especially if they don't have the steering lock on the main lock, and even more so if that steering lock is one of the ones you have to push down and twist. I have tried to pick my XJ6 lock, and it has got a spinning plate at the top of the lock, which means that your tension wrench just turns. There are ways around this. It is definitely pickable, but it is far harder to do than something like this bike, which, now let's not get into the size of my key here, it's still got 4 pins in it. This is not a difficult one to pick, and I've done a video picking this one as well. Thieves go for the smash method, they go for the cut method, they go for the fast, don't have to be smart and little can go wrong method. It's no finesse, there's no, I was going to say there, you can't have any finesse with an angle grinder, but that's wrong. I'm a freaking surgeon with an angle grinder. But it doesn't take a lot of skill to be able to cut through a chain with an angle grinder. And the battery powered ones are now quieter than standard angle grinders, like mains powered ones, and they're also just as powerful. I would love to know your thoughts on this one. Share it around, get some opinions. I want to know, because they say manufacturers need to do these things to help protect our bikes, and I think we can all agree that if there's anything they can do, please do it, but realistically, what can they do? Or is there some amazing design out there that I haven't heard of yet that will overcome this problem? Thank you, buddy. So there you go, don't forget to click on the like button. I'm not requiring smashing, slapping or any other tickling or gesturing. You can just click on it and I'd appreciate it. You can do the same on the subscriptions, and if you already are a subscriber, hit the notification bell, because then you're guaranteed to get my videos. If you want to support the channel, there are ways to do that. Links are 30% off. Links in the description to my Etsy store where stickers are currently 30% off, and also links to my Patreon. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.
If you enjoyed this video and the other content on the channel, please consider following the links in the description to show your support.